Good evening, everyone. Time for another silver update. This is the 15-minute chart of silver provided by netdania.com. You can click on the link below. Now, I've drawn in what I will call the primary trend channel we're in right now. You can see that it starts from the Bernanke takedown, the QE4 takedown. Here's the spike up rally on the news. Here's the drift back, and then the night smackdown. You can see we're in this trend channel. We have a couple of outliers here. I've drawn a parallel trend channel for the top and one for the bottom. In essence, this trend channel is, if you calculate it out, just rough estimates, is about a 50-cent decline per trading day from top to bottom in this channel. So we're looking at 50 cents a trading day decline in the price of silver. If we forecast that out into the future, it takes roughly 12 weeks. That's 5 trading days a week, skipping holidays and all that. Roughly 12 weeks before the price of silver is zero at this rate. So the big question is going to be, this is where we separate the men from the boys here, stacking the smack. That's the hard thing to do, is stepping in when the price is falling very rapidly and trying to pick a bottom, because usually you don't get a lot of time to do that. Now, I posted on the website the pick that I did of what I'm personally buying. Again, I don't give investment advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. I made 2 purchases. I'm not going to say how much, not very large, but 2 purchases of the half-ounce Perth 2012 Dragons. One purchase was roughly right around in here. The other purchase was today, right around in here. And you can see we actually went a little bit lower. Now, the site link, actually, I need to refresh this because it sets a cookie or something. So it's 2115, but we'll go ahead and reset it. And when I initially came on, when I first bought it, I think they had around 1,000, 800 to 1,000, and then I bought some initially, and those ran out. And then I can't recall exactly, but I think it was today they ran out again. I think they put in another 500 or another 1,000. They ran out again, and they were out for about 2 hours, and then we had 5,000 posted. Now, as one of the key readers pointed out on the thread, that these now say delivery January 3rd. So who is APMEX sourcing for these coins? I really don't know. Are they getting them from the Perth Mint? Is there another supplier? Don't know. But they apparently have a fairly serious commitment to get those. Again, we're down about 3,000 now from when I saw those 5,000 go in. Is there another 5,000? I have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see. I was a little surprised to see that they had that many. Now, I had actually purchased this coin before, I think around 22 or something, so you can call this averaging down. But for me, this price here, 17.55, if you double that, of course, you're getting about $35. So $35 is about $4 over spot, so you're paying $1 over the $2.99 premium or $2 over the $1.99 premium. So that's the price you pay for taking a little gamble on semi-numismatics. Now that's going to be the big topic of the night, because Mojo Fabulous has come back to the forum. He was one of the moderators on the forum, and I'm going to go ahead and read this whole thread instead of taking questions, because he posted a very interesting experience he had there. I'm going to read this and comment. And he says, my thoughts on buying and selling silver. Scroll to the end for the summary. I'm just going to say it. I no longer believe in semi-numismatic or numismatic coins are a wise purchase for the majority of working class people. To the newer members here who have no clue who I am, just know I used to be a super active member, and let's see, I think he's at, yeah, over 1,000 posts, and who almost fanatically supported the value in semi-numies on this forum and others. Then I got a bit burnt out and took a break. Then I got busy and completely disappeared. So before you go off on me, hear me out. My argument has nothing to do with whether or not semi-numismatic coins have value today or whether they can increase your profits over generic silver. Instead, I will start my argument with a real-world example. In fact, here's my own personal experience. I was an admin here for a short time until I disappeared. I strongly supported semi-numismatics and put my money where my mouth was. Further, I bought and sold them on bullion trading forums like bullionstacker.com and on eBay. I did so profitably. It was nothing I could live on, but it generated profit. I began to notice something, though. There was an inverse relationship between the number of coins I could sell on a single transaction and the profit I was able to make from each coin sold. My most profitable sales were single coin transactions. If I sold a full roll of coins, it was only done by decreasing the price to the point where I was making much more modest profits. So I was left with a choice. Either I could spend increasingly more time doing smaller but more profitable transactions, or I could focus on larger transactions at a smaller profit. At first I chose to focus on the smaller, more profitable transactions until I realized that my profits were a function of time investment. The buying and selling of the more profitable small transactions was consuming an ever greater amount of time, many hours a day. So for a while I decided to focus on larger transactions. This cut down on time spent and expenses like gas to the post office, but it also cut down on profits, and more importantly, it continued to drive me further away from semi-numismatic and numismatic coins because people are less and less willing to make larger purchases on premium coins. Then something even more important happened. I got a normal full-time 50-hour-a-week job. I'd been doing odd jobs and part-time work beforehand. Suddenly, I only had 3 hours of spare time each workday with 2 days off. The time investment required to continue selling and buying coins on the side no longer seemed worth it when weighed against my desire to have relaxed time for computer games, reading, etc. Basically, my time became very precious to me, and I no longer wished to spend it buying and selling coins to generate profit, much less spending the numerous hours required to research what coins were going to be the next big thing. Now, here's the even more interesting thing. You know what job I got? I now work for a company called Gold and Silver Buyers. It's the largest gold buyer in Texas. Do you know what I've learned as a result of this job? The vast majority of people in this country have no idea whatsoever what the value of gold and silver is. Many people actually throw away gold and silver jewelry when it breaks. For example, a broken necklace, because they think it has lost its value. They completely fail to recognize that the metal itself has value. The only value they recognized was the now ruined form it was in jewelry. Further, most of the ones that do realize the metal still has value completely fail to understand how much value it does have. I cannot tell you how many people have walked into my store and literally passed me a handful of broken gold jewelry and said, quote, "I have no idea how much it is worth. I just hope I can get some gas, beer money for it." Literally 90% of the customers I see haven't even bothered to look up the spot price of gold or silver in their lifetime. They had in their hands $100 to $500 worth of gold and silver, and they expected it to pay for their $20 to $40 gas bill. Now, that's a very important point. I have a lot of experience with that. I grew up as a coin collector, and my neighbor, who was a friend of mine, who befriended me, I got to know him when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, started collecting coins. He was a person who ran one of these coin shops. So I learned from him the day in and outs of buying and selling silver and gold coins and bullion and jewelry, etc., and also the general public and how they think. I also, to this day, try to befriend coin shop owners and see them from time to time, buy a little bit, sell a little bit, shoot the breeze and see how things are going. So I try to keep my finger on that pulse of what Mojo's involved in right now. I am going to finish this article, but I want to make a couple of points first. The first point is that when I talk to these people that run these shops, for example, one that I know fairly well, quite a while back, I bought some Silver Eagles from him, and I told him, yeah, these are going to go back to that 21 through 22, and then they're going to rise through 50 and up to triple digits. He said, no, I don't think see that happening anytime soon. But frankly, I really don't care because I'm in it for the spread. So it was clear to me after talking to him, and I told him, well, I'll come back and sell them to you when they're in triple digits. But it was clear to me talking to him that his business had nothing to do with investing in silver and gold. In fact, he wasn't an investor at all. He didn't even care. He's a businessman who's buying and selling something and trying to make money on the spread. Now, obviously, the vast majority of people, customers, people who buy and sell gold and silver, the vast majority are dum-dums. The vast majority of the public are dum-dums. There's no question about that. They are completely ignorant. They have no idea what they're doing, and they get taken for a ride on a daily basis. Gold and silver are no exception. You can see that in the used car business. You can see that in the new car business. You can see that in any number of businesses. The vast majority of people are uninformed sheep who don't know anything about anything, and not even the simplest principle of barter. Probably most of this is due to the fact that our school system is so corrupt that people aren't taught anything about buying or selling or markets or anything. But even the most simplest concept of buying and selling and investing is simply the bid-ask spread. You can find the bid-ask spread on anything. It's really very simple. If it's one of these coin shops, you simply go in, you pick a coin, let's say a 2010 Silver Eagle. He may have one behind the counter, and you say, how much is it for that coin? And he'll tell you the price, and then you tell him, I've got one. What will you buy it for? The difference is the bid ask. Now, if the bid ask is above a certain percent, obviously there's not a real market in that coin. So that's true for anything. That's the way you assess the liquidity of an investment. Stocks probably being the most liquid. Not necessarily having the most value. Remember, value and liquidity, those are two totally different things. So that's the first point I would make about this, is the incredible ignorance of the public. But to extrapolate and take some message about gold and silver out of that, I think is a mistake, because the public is incredibly ignorant about everything. The next thing I would say is that when you're talking about people who are coming in and buying and selling gold jewelry, for the most part, these people didn't invest in it. It wasn't an investment. They didn't buy it as an investment. They're just people who either got something themselves or got it from someone else or inherited it or it broke or whatever, and they're just trying to get a little bit of money out of it. They're just the uninformed. And of course, the last group of people that we're going to be talking about are the people who are forced sellers. Now, that's a terrible situation to be in, and that can happen due to unforeseen circumstances. But in many cases, these are people who have overextended themselves. They've projected something out of the future that's not there, or they have to sell in a crisis. Those are unfortunate situations. Then again, those people should be very careful about the bid-ask spread. But I would say for the most part, the gold and silver that's being recycled by these places, and this just isn't your around the corner coin shop. You've got your cash for gold places. Of course, those people are making a fortune off the ignorance of the public. And again, that is another reason why I say that we are at the very beginning stages of the bull market. We're not in stage 2. We're not even close to stage 2. We're probably in a hiccup in stage 1, which means the public still doesn't even know about the investment. But let's continue. As a result of the trading of all precious metal, as a result, the trading of all precious metals is big business these days, and I'm telling you right now, it's not happening at spot. It's happening at 20% of spot. It's happening at 30% or 40% or 60% of spot. Now, again, all this that's happening, I don't believe, I may be wrong, but I don't believe these are people that follow me. I don't believe these are investors. They're certainly not me. So I have a question for you. Do you really think those, I'll just say it, ignorant masses are going to take the time out of their busy lives, slaving away at a job they hate, to pay for things they think they need, will actually stop and educate themselves about the precious metals market? Further, do you think they'll actually choose to spend even more of their time investing in the knowledge necessary to benefit from trading of semi-numismatic metals? The correct answer is no. I'll tell you what these people are going to do. They're going to buy what is available and simplest. The most recognizable things will go first, then the cheapest will go second, then whatever is left will go last. When the frenzy buying for precious metals truly begins, premiums will go up. This is true, but it will be true for all physical silver and gold. The premiums will go up rapidly, but will simultaneously compress until there is little difference between generic, semi-numismatic, and full numismatic silver. All will be expensive, all will be considered equal, even if it is also considered somewhat confusing and strange. Now, there's a lot there. I have to disagree with this as well. What I see here is I see him going from a state of complete ignorance to outright panic and completely skipping the middle. Again, this is one of the assumptions that is made about the future of the economy. A lot of the people who criticize precious metal stackers talk about, well, you can't eat it and things like that. Or if it's a crisis, then you're going to need this. And again, I've pointed out many, many times, the most likely scenario is neither of those. The most likely scenario is renewed global economic growth, which will put tremendous demand on physical silver. So there is that middle ground, stage 2. Like I said, I believe we're in stage 1. I think the ignorance is a demonstration that we're in stage 1. Stage 2 is going to be where people begin to get educated and they begin to invest in silver. Again, these people who are dumping at the coin shops and getting scammed, these are not investors. For the most part, I would say the people who are selling coins especially probably aren't the people who bought them. They either inherited them, they found them, stole them, whatever. But the people who are buying and stacking silver, they're not dumping it in the coin shops. And that's the bias that I tend to find when I talk to these people who work in the coin shops, because they're so close to the silver recycling business. And you have to remember, this stuff is recycled. It is bought and then it is melted. It is sold for a price around spot, and it ends up back on the COMEX. Eventually, when this scrap runs out, and I do firmly believe the scrap will run out. When the scrap runs out, then it's going to be a whole different ball game. These coin shops will not be in the business of melting scrap. They will be in the business of buying and selling. They're currently not in that business. Let's continue. Why do I boldly state this to be a fact when the future is inherently unknowable? Because I've dealt with these ignorant masses now and have witnessed their understanding, knowing how they will react in a financial panic. See, here's the assumption that financial panic is the only outcome. In a financial panic where paper assets are piling into physical assets, it's now truly simplistic to me. They will understand in their gut that something is wrong and they will react. But they will react with limited understanding. All they will know is that physical assets are where to be. They won't necessarily know why or which choices are best, so they will simply buy. Those people couldn't care less if it's a 1964 quarter or a silver American Eagle or a 1993 graded Panda. If someone they trust or respect tells them it's silver, they will buy it. But they will buy the most recognizable and cheapest things first. Lastly, I want you to consider something. To take advantage of the high premiums on semis to full numismatic coins, one must use the internet. Coin shops will pay okay, but nothing like you can get off the internet. This is because the internet links so many people together that it's easy to find the most interested buyers. So what happens if the internet isn't working or your access is cut off? Again, doomsday scenario. People that are stacking junk silver, and I've stacked quite a bit of junk silver. People who are stacking junk silver may be looking for a doomsday scenario, but certainly people who are investing in semi-numis and stacking silver are not necessarily looking for a doomsday scenario. Or what if the internet is working but mail delivery is no longer functioning normally? Well, if the internet is working but mail isn't, there's a thing called Craigslist, which is becoming more and more active, and there will be more and more of those to come. For people who use those, it is highly advisable that you probably meet in a public place, preferably a bank if they allow you to, because you can give delivery of the silver, take delivery of the cash, and they can see you deposit the money right into the bank. Obviously, you're not driving away with it. So that doesn't impact Craigslist. Any of these things could happen in a serious financial crash or war. Premiums over the norm have value only if they can be extracted through an actual exchange. Just something to think about. So I'm going to end this now with the summary of my main 2 points. Numismatic value is a function of time investment. You cannot invest significant wealth in semi-numismatics and hope to unload them efficiently while also having a life outside of precious metals. Those without that amount of time to spend would do well to buy the cheapest, most recognizable silver possible, silver American Eagles or junk silver coins. The spread between generic and numismatic silver will compress, and it has nothing to do with semi-numismatic value. The fact is, most of the people on this planet are just too ignorant to buy wisely. They will buy what is recognizable and available. Numismatic value is for times filled with certainty and leisure, not uncertainty and fear. Thank you for taking the time to read this. So, great points. Now, there's some rebuttals here as well. Replies. This one from Christ Corp. I frequent my local coin shop about 3 times a week. I see a lot of people coming in and out of the place. There's probably 3 to 4 regulars like myself, but the average person walking in come by at most once a month. Many come in around 3 to 4 times a year. If they're buying, they simply ask what's the price of a silver eagle and they buy a few. Same with those who come in for that special occasion, like buying a silver eagle for a nephew, son, grandson, etc. Most of the sellers simply say, "What can I get for this?" They're usually showing a piece of jewelry or some old coins they found or given to them by a relative. Point is, Mojo is 100% correct. The ignorance is ridiculous. Most people in my area aren't trying to sell their jewelry. If they need money, they'll pawn it. The local coin shop doesn't do loans. He buys and sells. Then again, I see a lot of ignorant people buying a silver eagle at a pawn shop for $40 when the spot price is below $32. The local coin shop is right across the street from the biggest pawn shop, and the silver eagle price difference is $34 at the coin shop and $40 at the pawn shop. Yet there are idiots who will buy a silver eagle at the pawn shop. I make life very simple. I let a person feel good about their ignorance. I don't want to ruin their day by telling them they are ignorant, stupid, retarded, or anything else. If someone has a roll of pre-65 US quarters, $10 face value, and they want to sell them to me like what happened 2 months ago, I simply ask them how much they want for them. They weren't smart enough to know they're worth more than 25 cents each and therefore not to take them to the bank or supermarket, trade them for bills, but I asked them what they want. This guy said he wanted $50 for the roll. Okay, sure, no problem. Went across the street to the ATM, withdrew the money, told him the ATM only spits out 20s. Here's 60. Keep the change. I'm not going to tell him the roll of quarters was worth $240. Now, is that dishonest? No, I don't think that's dishonest at all. If someone comes to you and wants to sell something to you and they don't know what it's worth, do you have an obligation to give them a quote-unquote fair price? Now, you have that when you have the grading of estates and things like that. I think that's more of a fiduciary situation. But when you're talking about a cash on the barrelhead haggling situation, no. As he says here, in life we get paid for our knowledge. The reason you pay mechanic X amount to service your car is because he has the knowledge. He could show you how to service the car yourself, but should he? Should your accountant teach you all about accounting so you can do your own bookkeeping, taxes, etc.? Should an electrician or plumber teach you over the phone how to fix a problem in your house so you don't have to pay for it? No to all of the above. You pay people for their knowledge. Sometimes you pay for the convenience. I do that sometimes. I can fix all my own vehicles, but I choose because of convenience to pay someone else. But I've spent more than 50 years gaining knowledge. I have practical skills in mechanics, electrical, electronics, wood, metal, etc. I have 3 college degrees. As bragging and arrogant as it sounds, I have a lot of knowledge that I have acquired over the last half century. And while I may help or give away some of that knowledge to friends and family, I sure in heck aren't giving it away to others for free. If I know a roll of quarters is worth $240 and the seller doesn't, that's not my fault. Now, if my business was a coin shop, then part of the premiums I charge when buying and selling is for my knowledge. But as a private individual, that's not my job to tell someone the worth of something they're trying to sell. I simply ask them what they want for it. If they say, I don't know what it's worth, I'll simply tell them the value changes every day. If they still won't give a price, smart on their part, I'll offer them exactly half the current value, e.g. a roll of quarters for $120. They'll take it or they don't. But if they say the number, e.g. the guy told me $50, fine. Who am I to hurt their feelings by telling them that they're ignorant? I'll give you $50. So, great comments. Fantastic thread. I think it's going to go on here. I encourage you to sign up and comment on the thread from Mojo Fabulous. So, the main thing I'm going to take out of this is that life in the coin shops isn't much different today as it was when I was a kid growing up. The vast majority of people coming into the coin shops are people who don't really know anything about it. Now, in the 70s, when you had a boom, you did have people lining up around the corners to sell their junk silver, and there really wasn't a lot of people lining up to buy it. That was mainly driven by the exchanges. So, what are we going to see in the future? It's anyone's guess. I do think that the public will become more educated as we enter into what I believe is going to be stage 2 in the silver market. I personally believe that stage 2 in the silver market is probably going to begin when we cross this price of $50. That is going to be the time when the public really takes notice and starts looking at silver as an investment and actually begins to educate themselves. There's a lot of sources out there to be educated. Right now, there are just little mom and pop coin shops there. There's the main sites, APMEX, Gainesville, and some others. There's really just a dearth of things going on out there. And again, that indicates to me that we're still at stage 1. Now, I wanted to take as an example one of my favorites. This is one of the semi-numis, and as I pointed out to you before, this one I actually paid $5 over spot. So when silver was, I think I pointed out on the chart before, I pointed to it here, it wasn't there. It was actually this pullback right here, and this was at the end of 2011. So I bought my 2010 Tigers for $5 over spot. I got them for $30, so that is a 20% premium. That's, I believe, the highest I paid for any semi-numi. This coin I believed in more than anything else, just because of so many factors, including the design, and you can read the comments. Also, this mintage of 300,000. Now, I've researched this one thoroughly. I keep an eye on this one. I went and checked based on what Mojo said. I checked eBay. I went to see if there were any rolls of these available. There weren't any rolls available. The ones you can find, you can see they're sold out on APMEX. The ones you can find occasionally on APMEX are 79, I think. I've seen them on other sites, 80. The ones that go on eBay for the completed auctions, 63 came up. Not all were solid hits, but the lowest price I could find them completed auctions was $65 with shipping. The highest was in the 80s. Now, would I like to flip these and pile into the dragons? That's something I could do doing a business like Mojo said, and I think that would be definitely a profitable flip. I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in doing what I'm doing. So let's check this half ounce dragon for the last time. I kind of wonder whether I should hit up APMEX to pay me some kind of commission on these, considering that they started draining off of there. I don't know how much impact I had, but they certainly started draining off really fast as soon as I recommended them. They're currently at $17.55. Again, I think that is an incredible value to be able to get 1 ounce of Perth Mint in a plastic case, basically going to be 69 MS70. You're talking $35. You're talking $4 above spot. And of that 5,000 now, we're down to 1975. So we're going to be watching this one closely. We're going to see if they can dig up another 5,000 to deliver by next year. And it's going to be very interesting to watch. Also, the price of silver, I think tonight is going to be a very exciting night, maybe to the downside, maybe to the upside. I think ultimately, in the long run, a lot of people who stacked today are not going to be disappointed. And we'll talk to you next time.